The case against Russell Brand and the historical allegations against him has taken a step forward. Detectives have passed a file of evidence to the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, marking a pivotal stage in the process that could lead to charges. The allegations against Brand span from 2006 to 2013, a period during which he was highly visible in the media, hosting shows for Channel 4, BBC Radio 2, and being in Hollywood. Brand denies any wrongdoing and describes the allegations as hurtful and part of a serious and concerted agenda against him. But he's been questioned under caution 3 times, and following a 2023 investigation by the Sunday Times and Channel 4 dispatches, the Metropolitan Police received multiple reports from women alleging misconduct. And the implications of these claims are profound. The BBC and Channel 4 have faced scrutiny over their handling of complaints against Brand during his tenure, and the BBC acknowledged 5 complaints about Brand's behaviour, and Channel 4 have recently issued an apology for mishandling a 2009 complaint. The production company Banijay UK, which produced shows with Brand, also apologised, admitting that concerns were raised with him that were not adequately addressed. Since all that time, he's converted to Christianity, he wears a rosary, and he was baptised in the River Thames. If charges proceed, this case will likely prompt further introspection in the media industry about safeguarding accountability, the structural inadequacies that allowed Brand to go unchecked without censure during his peak. But I think it also ought to raise questions about the way in which British television is so often headlined by an individual who comes to sum up that television channel. And Brand, but particularly with cheap television like reality TV. And Brand, who has shifted his media presence to Rumble, continues to build a following by framing those accusations as part of a broader narrative of suppression, maintaining his stance on the consensual nature of his past relationships. The CPS will now decide on potential charges, a decision that could not only shape the future for Brand, but also for standards within UK media institutions. But I don't think it's going to change the way the media insists on sort of iconizing an individual as the image of their channel. I think this is a grave mistake by the BBC, by Channel 4, by British media in general, and each time it gets deflected into questions of safeguarding and adding psychiatry and other issues, but we always come back to the same pivotal consideration: the way that particular individuals are pushed to the front to represent the channel. And in the end, we need to consider whether this form of cheap television, this form of cheap promotion, is actually any good. There was an adaptation of Cooper's Rivals on Disney Plus recently, and the final episode, where the two groups competing for the franchise, one of them says, "We don't want cheap television anymore. We want to make dramas. We want to engage with the audience." It could have been said about today rather than about the 1980s. But I'm not hearing people saying that particularly. But certainly the same cheap television, and more of it, is being offloaded. Sofa television, all that sort of chat rubbish, is being offloaded on our screens. and and I find it so fascinating the way it's produced. So a lot of these chat shows, a lot of these breakfast shows, are produced almost to within the skin of their teeth. And I was very shocked the other day to get a script of what I was expected to say in something, and I thought, this isn't real. And when I tried to say what I intended to say, there was a huge effort to bypass me. I was grateful to Ryland for the man with the teeth. Grateful to Ryland for standing by me and helping. But even then, it was barely a sentence or two before I was suppressed in favour of the official line, which was going to go out anyway. So, if you want real debate, it's not going to be found. It's not going to be found in the domestic channels and what I suppose people call mainstream media. It's not going to be found. I'd love to know your thoughts about that and about Russell Brand, the CPS development, which of course doesn't mean that he is being prosecuted. It simply means that the process has moved on and that a prosecution is possible.